Welcome back to the desk here. We got Finch, we got Tolly, and we got Matt Coys here with support for Strictly Business, holding down the desk. And we've had some real good action here so far. How are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, man. The games today are crazy.
No,
they are crazy.
It has indeed been crazy. I agree with you 100% there. Did want to let y'all know, though, that we got a couple cool things going on for y'all at home, too. First off, though, we'll tell you a little bit about the superhero chest. That's going to be 25% off. So if y'all are trying to pull up that chest, you can do so and even get it at a discounted rate. I'm sure Tolly will be, because Tolly barely has any skins. He's still got to get his game on point.
I know. I have to grind here. This is the only reason why I'm actually working here, is just to get free gems from Smite.
Yeah, right now, Tolly only getting about 50, 60 gems a day, so he's really struggling. But thanks to great promos like this, Tolly will be doing all right.
I'm really looking forward to this chest. You know, looking forward to the adventures as well. You know, you got to catch up, though.
Oh, that's true. I am way behind on my adventure items. That's actually true. Yeah. Tolly's adventure game's on point. I'll catch up to you, Tolly. We'll grind it out a couple days here. The adventure is one that we're looking at here for you, too. But let's go ahead and talk about this set. We got Enix going up against Obey Alliance. Enix was the one that came out first there in EU, up against Obey, who maybe didn't finish quite where we expected there through that regular season, Tolly.
The way I look at Obey Alliance personally is a team that can never be counted out. Even though their online performance, you know, in the middle of the pack, 5-5, going into LAN, so far anything was possible. You know, you guys splitting with Elevate, we just saw Astral splitting before, and now Enix. You know, Europeans generally have struggled against North Americans, but how do you think this one is going to start?
I think it's going to start really just like off the wall. We're already in the 4th set, so you know, I don't think anyone's like super scared anymore. I don't think they're going to play passive. I think they're just going to go balls out, really.
Do you think that any teams are kind of like holding their strategies? Because we're only in day 1 of 3.
Yeah, I think especially teams should be like just holding back and like not showing everything, because it's only the first day. There's still so much Smite to be played, so you never know. I
want to ask you here, what we got you back, Kois, is there anything to playing your games later in the day and having watched everyone play already? Do you maybe get a little bit antsier, or do you like to see sort of the LAN meta develop? Is there anything to have in those later games?
I think it's just watching every game and then seeing what teams play, and then you know, you don't have to adapt completely. You just still go in with the game plan you had in the beginning of the day. But definitely watching the games and seeing all the picks and the flavor stuff, it definitely, you know, you think about your draft even more.
Yeah, getting a chance to get a little bit of that insight never can hurt. But let's go ahead and take a quick talk here about Eanix, man. The EU team coming over, trying to go up against Obey Alliance, some of the NA favorites here. And I want to talk particularly to you here, Tolly, about Dineohsaw from Eanix, man. That support, I mean, he does a lot well for this team.
So he's usually the frontliner there, being able to initiate. And something that I've noticed is during the online portion, he's played a lot of Sylvanas, and I think that might be a telltale sign of where he wants to go, at least in this first game. What do you think, Matt Coys?
Yeah, definitely. I remember he was on a team last split that he played early support, and he was actually hard carrying as a support. Like, that's crazy to me that you can just like win the game as a support character that, you know, you're usually supposed to peel for your backline, peel for your carries, and this Dineohsaw, he is actually insane and could actually carry just from his role alone.
And that's a huge advantage, being able to run a warrior in that support position, simply because you can afford yourselves to pick that god early on in the game, or at least in the draft process, and then kind of switch things up, leave your actual solo laner pick later down the road, creating a lot of confusion for the enemy team.
Of course, and he also plays a lot like Jelly, where he just goes in, he comes behind like a little assassin right here, and he just flops, engage, and you know, you never really expect him to do that, because usually sports, you don't stay back and they don't really go in, but he's super aggressive. And I think he can match Jelly's playstyle to the key, to be honest.
With a level 1 play like that, we're probably going to see a few wards from Obey Alliance preventing any sort of shenanigans.
Of course, of course. You always got a ward. Make sure you don't see anybody come behind you. That's the biggest thing.
They don't want that happening to Delta Marine there in the mid, him being the one that gets caught out. So, yeah, we might see a little bit of warding from Obey. But, I mean, speaking of those mid laners, I mean, 50-meter fly for this team here, too, for Enix, man. I mean, it seems like he's starting to really have a big impact for him. I mean, I don't know how closely Matt Coys, y'all are watching those EU teams, but I mean, talk to me a little bit about this Enix roster, and if you can, 50-meter fly too here.
Yeah, 50-meter fly is hard carry mid. Like, he can pop off on Raijin, he can pop off on the Souls. He doesn't really miss, which is really good. for an EU player. And then especially Dineohsaw being that hard carry support, that support just wants to go in all the time. This roster is looking really good, honestly.
There's a lot of synergy between these two players. Just look at these two. They're just so happy to be next to each other, really playing off of each other. And something I'm really expecting, too, is just the ability of Dinosaur to kind of lead the team to give the space that 50-meter fly to do his own thing.
All right, let's head over and talk a little bit about Obey Alliance here, Totally. I mean, this is a team that everybody's familiar with. One of those teams that's been around for a long time here. And we got some big names like Zachsy, who we see here on our screen, like Myflin, like pbnjellly. I mean, this is a squad, like you said, of some strong players that we know can always play better than their record.
Being able to fill in for Hercules, Zachsy has filled in the role. But to be fair to him and the rest of Obey Alliance already had an identity, with or without Zachsy. It was mainly... I think Jelly and the Myflin show being able to lead Obey.
Yeah, I think definitely Hercules leaving this team was a big detriment, but I think Zachsy filled it perfectly. I'm pretty sure they had, I forgot who their previous ADC was, but Zachsy does a really good job of just filling in those shoes that Hercules, had past that. Yep.
Well, we had a chance to talk to Zachsy a little bit here. Let's go ahead and listen in on his thoughts. We actually sat down with him.
Everyone thought I was just this ranked player that was, not supposed to be in the pro league. So I really grinded, and it was always my dream to win worlds. But to be in a position where we're one step away from making worlds, it's important. So it would mean everything. That's what I've always wished for ever since I came into the pro league. So I think the Xbox community as a whole has really made strides in improving their gameplay. So you can't just walk out there and because you've been playing the game longer win the game. You actually have to outplay these guys because they're getting really good. So I do feel I want to perform for the Xbox natives. Yeah, definitely. Our identity is real fluid. So it's a real unorthodox situation, but I think that's good because if someone's having an off game, someone else can pick up the slack. So I think that's really important to have in a team environment. I believe that we can easily get first. If we're playing to our potential, but I expect no less than going to Worlds.
We got to hear a little bit from Zachsy, and I think the man himself said it best. Just about anybody on that team can go off. I mean, in particular, let's talk a little bit about Myflin in the jungle for this team. Not just a bit of a leader for him in the game, shot call-wise, but outside the game, too. This dude's real vocal, totally.
Just a lot of chemistry, honestly, between Myflin and the rest of his teammates. He's always, even though he's swapped to support before with Jelly, and then he's now back into that role, he's filled it comfortably. And if there's any weaknesses I see from Obey Alliance, I got to ask you here, Matt Coys, because you were able to 2-0 them in week number 3. Where do you think Obey Alliance is weakest in?
I think they're weakest in solo, to be completely honest. I think Dwurst hasn't been showing the dominance that he has in Season 3 and in Season 2. I think that's where, if Enix has any shot to really win this game, is the camp Dwurst.
And why is that exactly? Because he used to play a lot of Robin, a lot of Odin as well, and be able to really make an impact, but not so much lately.
I think it's because he's been switching to more Guardians, which they don't really have that much pressure. He's been playing more of a team solo laner kind of style instead of what he used to do, just get dominance, get that pressure as a warrior. But yeah, I think just him playing the Guardians recently has been the reason why he hasn't got that pressure, and maybe is the reason why he's getting behind.
Is this because simply they're trying to kind of protect Zachsy by going a Guardian for Dwurst in the later portion?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Zachsy is one of those hard carry ADCs. He's definitely one of the veterans out here, and he can actually hard carry. So I think that's why this team is adapting to his style.
This team, it feels like, has definitely adapted in that way. I mean, you talk about how important it is for Dwurst in that solo lane to be able to start hard carrying, but that whole jungle solo side of the map, it just feels like it's so important now, Matt Coy. So, I mean, that's why we're talking a little bit here about Myflin, a little bit about Dwurst, and how well they'll be able to rotate over. Like we said, maybe not the best split for them just here last time in the fall, but, I mean, Matt Coy is talking about some of these players and how well, they can bounce back even if maybe they didn't have the performance they wanted.
Well, first and foremost, they're world champions for a reason, okay? You can't take that away from them. They are a monster team, and they're Lanimals. They haven't shown the recent results lately, but, you can't really knock them. I think that this game in particular, they're just going to come out guns blazing and show why they actually won that world championship.
Does Dwurst run Warriors? this game?
I think he should. You can just see here as this warrior, Wukong, just running around. He needs that pressure in order to, you know, secure the speed buff, secure the blue buffs, even invade on that side of the map.
Who have you guys been actually scrimming in preparation for this LAN?
We've been scrimming Soar exclusively, and, you know, obviously they took a game on Astral, so, you know, maybe we're pretty good scrim partners, but...
Not too bad, not too bad.
No, I mean, that's good. There's every team that can hang with Astral. Maybe it was a little bit from practicing with y'all that got him ready. So, hey, you know, whatever helps y'all feel a little bit better over there. But that's the way that it's going for him right now. Again, this set is the last one that we're doing here today. And it is the best of 2 sets that we're going up against. And everyone within their own groups plays against each other. That's why these points are so important. That's why making sure that you can, if you can get the full sweep, that you do it. Those 3 points, just so much better.
I mean, this group is wide open between your guys split with Elevate here. You guys are probably hoping for a split, I'm assuming?
A split at best, hopefully, so we'll see.
Yeah. Because that way, you know, the whole entire group will be tied at 1 point apiece, and then that leaves a lot of suspense for day number 2 and day number 3.
These next couple days are going to be really intense and a lot of Smite action, so...
Yeah, the competition is already heated up, and I mean, I gotta say, this has felt a lot closer maybe than some of us have said. I mean, it seems like a little bit surprised maybe to us, but I mean, in your player interviews, we keep hearing it. You all are saying that everyone's catching up. Is that how you all felt so far, that that it's really gotten that much closer here on the console scene?
Yeah, I think every team here is getting better. They practice every day, day in and day out, and I think the competition is just, it's really fierce. You never know who's going to get the game, and it's only 2 games, so you can come out with some cheese or come out with some, you know, comps that are really, really good in a best of 2. So
you come out with just a loud voice as well. You know, the adrenaline is pumping. We heard you all the way from back here, Matt Coy, so definitely want to, you know, save your voice for tomorrow and Sunday as well.
Yep, of course.
Well, and that's a good point that you bring up there, Tully. Talk to me a little bit about when things start getting loud here at that LAN event. I mean, what's it like? I mean, y'all are right there, right across from each other and everything. Do y'all hear all of that in the games, even the other team? How does that impact even the comms or the game and everything?
Yeah, it's just super hype. The other team is yelling, so you feel like you want to yell even louder than them. You want to show that, you know, their yelling is not affecting you, and just want to hype your own team up so you can, you know, get that dub. So
it's all about the W's here. I mean, I agree with you. It's about being able to get those points and being able to come back in. Again, this is going to be the set here. Enix going up against Obey Alliance. We talked a little bit earlier about 50-meter fly and how he's like sort of like a hard carry mid laner. Then does that put a little bit of pressure then onto Delta Marine, the mid laner here for Obey Alliance? How's he going to be matching up totally up against 50-meter fly?
Well, I think Delta Marine is going to be able to just do his job personally. The way he relies on Jelly and Myflin, always in a 3v3 encounter against any team that he's playing against, he's playing like the hyper carries. You know, sometimes he'll whoop out the Hebo every now and then, which will really confuse teams. Do you expect any sort of shenanigans from Delta?
No, I don't expect any shenanigans in particular. I think he's going to play like the Brygens and the mages that can really deal damage, because Henry is one of the hard carry mids. He's one of the best mids out here on console, so we'll see what he does.
Well, we'll see what both teams do here. We have the picks and bans ready for you all now. Going into game 1 here of our last set, Eanix going up against Obey Alliance. Obey Alliance are going to be the ones first picking here as well. See if anything comes out that's maybe a little bit not traditional, or if they choose to go with some of those regular bans that we've been seeing here so far.
Well, so far, you know, Europe's still been struggling against North America. It was actually the first LAN victory in Summer Valencia when it was Team Rival that defeated Soar Gaming that was able to, you know, to get to the finals there, but it's still not enough to get the W in the finals. So now Enix needs to find some sort of hope for Europe, because Kaz couldn't do that against Myth.
I think Enix definitely has the capabilities. They beat Rival, and that was, you know, a huge shocker in the EU season. But we'll see here if they can, you know, get the comp that's
Dwurst is happy. What is? He's like already. No, nothing was picked or banned, by the way. Already seeing some hype out of Dwurst.
Dwurst is just ready to go. That's what it seems like to me. And we need him to be ready to go. I mean, you already talked about how big of an impact he can have from that solo lane. So as long as he's feeling good, then Obey is feeling good. But right away, Muzen Cobb and Scotty, 2 high-pressure 80 carries have already been taken off the table.
We haven't seen Scotty picked or banned yet today, and then all of a sudden, Enix doing their homework. Who is this targeting out? Is it going to be Zachsy playing the Scotty?
I think they are targeting Zachsy, but I'm pretty sure Zachsy doesn't really like that god in particular. And also, Scotty kind of fell out of the meta recently. She doesn't really shred the tank junglers and the double warriors that some teams are running. So that's kind of a weird first brand, I think, but I don't know. We'll see.
When I look at Zachsy, I look at the boxing hunters, right? Specifically Uller. I'm looking at him whipping that out and just being able to throw out the axes and try to find some boxing.
Yeah, he definitely likes taking the 1v1s. He'll pick the Anhers, he'll pick the Ramas, he'll pick the Huyis. And, I mean, Enix is the one that picks the Huyi here, knowing that Zachsy likes to box in lane, likes to take the 1v1s.
Look at this Sobek pick, though, from Enix. I know that Jelly really likes this guy to initiate with.
Oh, that's Sobek's I mean, that's Jelly's favorite character. I call him Sobek because that's all he plays, but Enix are definitely doing their homework here, taking the Huyi and Sobek away from them.
I like this. Look at Myflin hiding the comms from Obey Alliance. That's next level strategy there coming out. You know, you want to make sure that no one's picking up on any of your strategies totally.
I mean, that's what the coaches do, but Myflin doing it right here, you know. And no, his hands are not cold. He's not trying to warm it up by holding his controller. He's actually trying to hide it.
Well, keeping it all a little bit close to the vest, Soul and Fafnir were the picks up for Obey Alliance, and nothing too surprising here. Just a lot of top priority picks, the Chulainn, the Soul, and the Fafnir that we know can mesh well together.
And what's actually really surprising to me is that's really smart because in PC world, they'll just type to each other about picks and bans instead of like actually talking to kind of elude the conversation. But on console, you can't really type to each other, so you got to use that voice comms.
Yeah, you can't really have a keyboard on console, or that's a bannable offense. So, but the Susano here, also a not normal pick, I think. I don't think Susano's that good in the meta. I mean, if anything, Enix can do it, but we'll see.
Susano is going to be the pick for Enix in the jungle. One to try and give Auzrik something he can have a big impact on. Instead, they're going to go ahead and ban away the Raiden as well as the Osiris. So taking those off, and as well as taking off that Thor pick. So trying to limit some of these, some of these initiators away.
Two aggressive warriors taken off by Enix. The Chulainn can flex easily between the solo and jungle. That's why the Osiris and the Thor were banned. You don't really want to pair that up with the Chulainn, or with the Chulainn rather. He's going to be very annoying. So that's smart. But on the flip side, two long-range mid-mages banned by Obey Alliance, really targeting out 50-meter fly.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what mid he's going to go. The Raijin, the Thoth, and the Soul are all off the table, so we'll see what he can pick, and maybe maybe he can carry on any pick he goes for.
This composition from Enix is pretty safe and standard, though, so I don't really expect anything crazy. They have good enough protection between the Sobek and the Hercules. He can even run Zeus realistically if he wanted to, I feel.
He could. There's a lot of peel for the Zeus. There's a lot of just, you know, you can protect the Zeus, and the Zeus can't really get dove by like a Soul or a Fafnir. The Chulainn can definitely dive him, but I'm not really sure. The Xing 10, Dwurst, that's his favorite character. He likes the Xing 10. He likes to just give up the lane pressure and just kind of farm up for the late game.
More control with this Nox pick. Just a lot of lockdown by Enix.
And it seemed like they had maybe like a pocket idea for what they wanted to do here with that mid, because they take Hercules instead and wait all the way to the end, so they felt comfortable being able to get the mid they wanted, and they knew they would. They were going to be able to get that knock. So you already said it, totally. The name of the game for Enix is going to be control, and that's a controlling roster.
Between the Hercules pull push, the Nox silence route, Sobek is going to be able to plug and tail whip you. I got to give this composition to Enix, but I think Obey could technically still outplay him.
Yeah, I like the Enix comp. They have a lot of CC. I think that the Sobek can definitely just disrupt anything that the Izzy's trying to do, or the Soul, and I just like their comp in general, yeah.
Well, it looks like we all like that Enix comp up here on the desk. Let's get it over to Tom and Aggro and take it away as the caster's desk.
Thanks a lot, guys. Good to see that the Kois are back in town. Always fun to have them.
Ah, nice.
Yeah,
That's a good one. I like that
I've
one.
been sitting on that since he sat down.
Okay. Well, I think it paid off. I think that the wait was definitely worth it. I think we can all say that.
I really enjoyed it, and it's
Yes,
funny.
we all did.
Well, Ryan's making fun of me. I've been making terrible jokes off camera, and he's been eating them up, like loving it.
Okay, I actually have. Some of those were really good, and I hope you get a chance to use them, because I thought they were funny.
Well,
but let's be real. If I thought they were funny, they probably actually aren't funny. That's usually the way it goes.
That's how I do it. But right now, Enix, the draft is good. The talent level between these two teams might be different.
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, Kaz had some trouble earlier on today, but that was against a pretty solid squad for Myth Gaming. Obey is the defending world champions with a really good hunter. Zachsy has joined this team since last year. Zachsy considered one of the best hunters on Xbox right now, and this is going to be a tough matchup for Enix, but this is the type of composition you want to run. You want to try and lock down the warriors in the jungle. That's a lot of what Obey has been doing during their online split. split, there's a great opportunity. You know Myflin doesn't want to go beats, even against Nox, Sobek, you know, Susano, Hercules, Hu-Yi, that's a bunch of stuns.
Yeah.
He's still not going to want to go beads, and in fact, he doesn't. He still picks up Horrific Emblem. He has got to be the focus for Enix. Lock down that Chulainn in the jungle and kill him quickly with that Nox combo.
You know, you referenced last year's championship win for Obey Alliance. I think there's two things to bring up, especially since we highlighted the fact that these are mismatched teams, perhaps. The Obey team, I don't think, is the same team that won their world championship. I think they have sort of down-geared or downshifted, if you will. Whereas Enix, these guys are kind of new guys on the scene. And for what it's worth, Ryan, I've actually enjoyed what I've seen out of them, specifically Auzrik in the jungle.
Yeah, Enix has looked great. And you know what? Talking to those guys, they said that they really looked for the blink there by Dineohsaw. They really looked to scrim quite a bit against rival. And that's how they felt like they got better. And that's what you need to do is play against a team that is beating you consistently as often as possible and try and learn why you're losing and try and get better at it. And it's really paid off for them, certainly looking a lot better and looking like a team that really deserves to be here at this LAN.
Yeah, I mean, this team in general on the newer side of things, they're Hunter even more so than the rest of the squad. But I mean, Dineohsaw, 50-meter fly, Auzrik, and Predators, this has been a core of the squad that I think you can draw allusions to other teams where they started off in a really not so nice spot, but they've gradually gotten to the point where, hey, they're at LAN, and I think they can actually win some.
Yeah, absolutely, and Predators has a lot of good stuff to say as Myflin gets pulled back in.
The pull back and the sprint's going to be good. Predators can't reach him, just barely out of range, and Myflin's going to laugh about that one.
Dwurst might not be laughing about that one because he just got pushed and pulled, but ends up standing strong regardless. Really good play out of Predator so far in that solo lane, and that's exactly what Enix needs. You want to get the pressure on this side of the map up against the Guardian in the solo. Usually with Warriors in the jungle, you want more pressure on that side of the map, but the Xing doesn't really fit alongside that.
Another aggression on the right side. Myflin going to be able to get out of there, however. Enix going to pump the brakes just a little bit. And right now, I mean, Obey Alliance are, I think, surprised by the aggression from Enix. They've just been able to sort of, you know, come out swinging, and that's what you have to do when you're the bottom card here. You have to hit the gas as soon as possible.
And that's what you want, especially, again, against this Guardian. Even with Dwurst going for Hand of the Gods, there's pressure on that buff, and I like Enix deciding to give up that buff regardless. You know, make them work for it, but don't try and full commit. Instead, push the wave underneath the tower, make them lose some farm on that right-hand side, and look to control the mid lane. The mid 3v3 is where I want to see Enix focus their attention because, again, Myflin has no purification beads. There's a heavy CC composition. Nox is a nightmare for Warriors. It's the class that she really deals with the best in a lot of ways because they never want to go beads, and if you know, Warriors are all tanky and tough to kill, but when they're standing still for 2.5 seconds straight, they get a lot easier to kill pretty quickly, and Vaporish, especially on this Hu-Yi, is going to be able to pump in the damage very, very quickly.
I love what you said before about specifically Xing with the Hand of the God. Make him work for it, even though you know it's going to him. A lot of times, especially at the highest level of Smite, and all competitive games for that matter, you sort of just like go through the motions. All right, I know you have this, so you know I have that, so you know you get that, and I know you get this, and we just sort of sit on this little railroad. But what you gotta force that effort, especially when you're, you know, like I said, coming into the defending world champs. Force the effort so that even the most mundane of options causes brain cycles that they wouldn't normally expend, so that you can catch them in a mistake at more opportunities than if you had not.
Exactly. You have to give them the option to mess up, and if you just let them do whatever they want, then that's just not going to happen. And I love what Obey is doing on this left side of the map, and that's just pressure with the Izanami. Jelly hasn't left this lane yet, and they've gotten every buff on that left-hand side. That's why they're up a level and a half right now over the Hu-Yi and the Sobek in this duo lane. I'd like to see Dineohsaw just leave. Just go towards the mid lane, try and make sure that he can set up a kill for 50-meter fly or Auzrik, and allow Vaporish Coast to sit underneath the tower and get that solo farm, because right now Zachsy is just going to outclass him when it comes to clear. You're never going to be able to have kill potential in this lane or have the clear potential in this lane up against the Fafnir and the Izanami, so instead, it's a little bit better to just play passive.
Well, here's going to be the aggression finally on to Dineohsaw. The Suns will come down, a nice defensive ultimate coming out from Vapor. So he's going to be able to protect his support. And the reason we see that aggression is honestly because of the buff respawn.
Exactly, poking out Dineohsaw so that they don't want to come in and contest on this purple buff. And it looks like it will go down in favor of Obey, but Jelly a little bit farther forward, gets up and over that wind cycle, but Auzrik's still going.
ultimate's going to transform. He is surrounded, but Eanix make the right play. That is the right. I think if they go aggressive there, they probably lose more than they gain.
Yeah, I agree, and that's definitely the right call to back up. Jelly, I think, may have actually been able to try and play aggressive himself in that scenario, but after using the jump, you're in a really bad spot as Fafnir, especially without something like a shell. Using that sprint, while great to disengage, if you're already engaging with your leap and then trying to disengage with the sprint, it's usually not going to work out in your favor.
Prime example of what we're talking about, make them do the work. Obey Alliance probably could have just walked in and looked for the purple by themselves. Instead, they had to force the fight because they knew that Enix would fight them over the buff. That conditioned the players into being able to, you have to force that ultimate, which means Obey can't fight there when Enix respond, otherwise you see them turn around and they look for the team fight. All of this are ripple effects of Enix just saying, look, we know this is a win for you, but we're going to force you to do it the hard way, and I just love what I'm seeing already.
I like this Doom Orb in the mid lane for 50-meter fly if he can stay safe, but that's a big if against a Chulainn who has horrific emblem, who's going to be able to just use Jelly as a resource to jump on top of him. Why are you giving me that smile right now, Tom?
I love this item.
I know you do.
Doom Orb is criminally underpurchased. 140 power at max stacks, and even when you die at max stacks, you're still keeping it to 90 power. It's competitive for the 2050 gold. Love this item so much. As I always say, man, do more with Doom Orb.
I know you're getting really passionate about something when I hear the New York come out. 140 power.
Don't know what you're talking about, sir.
That's a little bit better. Now we're back in control. We've reset, and now we're back at it. I like it.
I'm always in control. I don't know what you're talking about.
There you go.
Delta Marine on the soul. That's a story in and of itself, huh?
It's tale as old as time, basically, at this point. I mean, he is...
Song as old as rhyme.
Beauty and the Beast.
Myflin and the Jungler.
Delta Marine, I mean, this is a classic pick for him. He's been playing Soul forever in the mid lane, and it's one of his most comfortable picks, and it does everything that Delta Marine wants to do. It's like the perfect embodiment of his play style as a character. It can be aggressive with that disapparate. He can play really defensive with it as well. It just allows him to be in a good spot and provide the burst damage at the same time.
Auzrik had a good opportunity, but quickly realized there were too many members of Obey Alliance right around the block. He's going to be first blood. Myflin starting things hot. Nice play from the jungle, Chulainn.
Predator's right there, though, and Delta Marine's got to be careful. The boulder doesn't end up hitting him, but Myflin's still going with that horrific emblem.
Predator's in trouble. Predator's going to get killed. That's 2 for Myflin. Not quite the double kill. I'm going to put it in my book. Lovely play by Obey. Auzrik thought he had the opportunity.
And this is exactly where Chulainn jungle wants to fight you. He's level 9. He's got a lot of points in that 1 and the 3. Gets the transformation at the right time, and that's the perfect time to go because he's got the purification boots there as well, or the purification boots, the warrior tabi there for that extra bit of damage. Perfect time to find the fight, and this is where I'm nervous for Enix. This is a team that doesn't have as much LAN experience against good NA teams as, say, Rival did coming out of EU. You know, Dineohsaw's been here before, Predator's been here before. These guys have done it before, but to go up against a guy like Myflin, who is going to be as loud as humanly possible in that arena, everyone knows that Myf just got a double kill in there, and he told Enix to make sure that they can remember that he just got a double kill, and we've seen that affect players. I mean, how loud you can get. I do think that it ended up affecting Astral Authority in that last match with him Mollusk getting really loud in that set. We talk about it with all lands, but for console specifically, these dudes get loud, and they let you know when they're on fire, and Myflin's going to be that guy. How well can Enix, stay mentally focused past that?
Yeah, the culture here is definitely, I love it. This is more my style than the calm tennis handshake. This is more my vibe, and I like these guys able to dish it out. And then sometimes after the game, I'm not gonna lie, it does linger a little bit, but generally professional players make it work. Did you ever get the opportunity to play against Myflin? No,
not at LAN, and that is one of my biggest regrets because I would have loved to let him know how free he is at a LAN setting. That would have been a lot of fun for me.
I don't know. I think if you played him, you might be a big boy.
I mean, maybe, but it'll just have to wait for another time.
Auzrik goes for it. The ultimate off of the mid lane mage, and this is excuse me. Sorry, this is gonna sound weird, Ryan, but I actually like that happened. Auzrik went to go in, and his mid just trusted him. And I think that's a positive.
Uh-oh, Auzrik in trouble. Myflin gonna get his third already. Great stun by Jelly to stop it. And now Dineohsaw's put himself in a really bad spot.
There's the transformation coming out from the support player. Myflin barely alive. Predators puts him down and gets Enix on the board. Nice recovery play. Because Obey, that was that was an ego play.
Yeah.
And you need to punish those plays. Obey, sure, they get a kill and that's all well and good, but if they leave without dying there, Ryan, the message is totally different.
And that's classic Obey. I mean, it's Myflin going deep for a kill, and it's Dwurst more focused on the farm. Is now Delta Marine actually not the focus for Predators. That definitely should have been the target of his driving strike. I mean, Jelly's in some trouble, but Delta Marine's putting out the damage himself.
And meanwhile, Dineohsaw going to get met up by Dwurst on the right side, but Auzrik's there as well. The kill goes Dwurst's way instead. And Sobek falls down. It's 4-1.
And that's just Obey working so well together as a unit.
Yep.
And don't be surprised, because Dwurst, Jelly, and have been working together for so long. Myflin and Delta Marine joined this roster last year, at the beginning of the year, and they've been playing together since then. Now, Zachsy, the only newest addition, but he fits in seamlessly. Dwurst and Jelly working together to find a kill is something that we've said for the last 3 years, basically, in the console scene. And that's a perfectly timed rotation by the Xing and the solo lane.
And, you know, even like you said, I mean, Myflin's been with the squad not since the inception, but certainly for a while now. And watching that on the ego play, as I called it, Myflin goes in and PB just sort of, Jelly just finds like the offhand stun. Like, those are the types of things that you don't have time to communicate. You communicate, gank behind tier 1 tower, I'm going for it. And Jelly just knows that he has to stop the opponent. That's just raw teamwork. You can't communicate that on comms. You don't have time to say something. It just happens. And same thing with Dwurst pathing there. He takes the high path because he knows he's not going to come around and impact the team fight below. He's going to cut off the exit.
Ooh, the ward goes to Enix. They grab that sentry, but ultimately, Auzrik is going to try and get to steal that red buff. Delta Marine doesn't have his ultimate, but there's a silence from the Dark Portal from Zach.
The knock up on Auzrik, and Delta Marine puts him down. Trouble for the jungler.
Nice shot.
All the way from downtown. Didn't expect that one to happen. Zachsy actually falls down, visible or not. Now 3-on-3, and Dineohsaw trying to protect his hunter. Tosses Myflin, 50-meter fly, gets 2.
Predators here now, and Jelly's got to be careful. Should have that leap up soon, but sprint popped by Enix. They want to try and chase him down. Jelly up and over that Earthbreaker, but that's a bad time to lose your transformation. But 50-meter fly was too early with the root.
Oh, no. pbnjellly just jumps the second it falls down. Oh, the Nox play at a 50-meter fly. He just got a double kill, so we can't rash him too hard, but, I mean, that silence field has to be delayed just a little bit, so he's silenced when he spawns and he can't jump away.
Dineohsaw and Predators looking for the chase on a Delta Marine, but that extra movement speed from Disapparate is going to get him out of there. That's what Delta Marine is so good at. He's always looking for extra farm around the map. Never idle hands for the mid laner. He's always looking to do something with his time, and right there is the perfect example. Doesn't want to get it too involved after Myflin gets killed on the left-hand side, so I'll grab this mid wave. Oh, they're chasing Jelly instead of coming to stop me. Then I'll just take this tower and give my team 500 gold.
And on top of that one, just consistent wins for Obey Alliance as they start the Gold Fury. However, Vapor knows all about it, so he'll likely be able to, well, never mind. He's just going to be zoned out by Jelly. He could come in and steal this one. It's very low. Tosses one out. But Obey get the last hit. Gold Fury just going to be another one of Obey's wins. 5-3 in our 13th minute. They're leading by 5K.
One of the most underrated parts of Izanami as a hunter is the ability to secure objectives like that. Usually, when your mage ultimate is down and you're not going to be able to secure it, as Dwurst, look at him just yelling at Enix that he stole away that blue buff. He's into it, and Dwurst has always been one of those guys who gets into it at LAN. But Izanami ultimate, usually when your hunter, when your mage ult's down, you're going for an objective, you're like, well, you know, it's too risky. Let's just back up and not worry about it. Iza ult is a mage ult. It does mage ult damage out of the hunter role. So even without Delta Marine's ult to secure that Gold Fury, Obey switched that role over to Zachsy. Now it's Zach's job to secure the Gold Fury, and he does it well.
Jelly gonna get served up, tossed, silenced out, half HP. The Guardian walks away. I actually like Izanami's ult better than I like Soul's ult for confirm. Soul's ult is a dot. It's like Sun's, right? It comes down in separate part. Zachsy is just like, boom, and that's mine. and you can't replicate that with Soul.
That's true.
The knockup is all well and good when you're trying to zone players out, but if you're just looking for that raw damage, I'd much prefer the Izanami.
Myflin in some trouble, and 50-meter flies here. Knockup gonna get up and over it for Myflin, but driving strikes there. Myflin gets punished for pushing down that tier 1 tower on the right-hand side, and now Enix might be looking at the Portal Demon.
They're gonna look at it. Dwurst might tell him to look someplace else along with Delta Marine, but those are the plays that Enix, that make me excited. Those are the plays that Enix have to make, and they're going to be able to contend here. Nice ultimate out of Dwurst, tossing Predators the other way, and Dwurst going to toss them all the way to the fountain. Jelly with some good positioning, and it seems like Obey Alliance have control of the Portal Demon. Vapor is here, so is Dineohsaw, Auzrik, and Dineohsaw's all the way in.
Reset it!
There's the ultimate reset! Eanix with the hot snatch! And there's going to be the drag and the pull. Zachsy able to put down the Sobek. Enix going to lose 1 or 2 here. Zachsy with 2. Slow down. Dwurst trying to catch up to Vapor. Turn and burn on the fly is an option. But instead, we're all still looking at the Hunter. Zachsy comes up with 2, and his team loses the Portal Demon. But Obey Alliance wind up on top in that exchange.
That's a great play from Dineohsaw to blink in and use Tail Whip to push Zachsy and Delta Marine out of the circle, resetting the Portal Demon for that split second and allowing his team to secure it. Great individual play by Dineohsaw.
Yeah, really pretty stuff. Unfortunately for Enix, they lose 2 and they're losing their tier 2, so it winds up, still in Obey's favor. But I like I mentioned before, Ryan, I mean, these are the plays that I want to see a team like Enix make. It's very easy for Enix just to sort of lay down, and they're not doing that, and that's really exciting for me.
And they've had moments of looking really good. 50-meter flies look solid in the mid lane on this Nox. I mean, he's down in XP to Delta Marine, and that's one of the strongest parts of Delta Marine's game is how well he farms during the neutral game. This is a time where he can do that and has really showed that off, but 50-meter flies damage has been solid. He's been consistent with his combos. There was the 1 kill that he dropped on the left-hand side onto Jelly, but other than that, he's looked very, very good. Auzrik has struggled in the jungle, though. That's been the big difference maker. Myflin has fallen a couple more times than he should have so far this game, but he's also brought the damage and brought the front line, whereas Auzrik has just done the falling.
Zachsy, nice save by Dineohsaw. Very important, very simple but important pluck coming out from the support. Like if you're gonna play Sobek, that's the #1 thing that you're gonna do, and just hit the fundamentals. Really nice stuff there. Auzrik, yeah, Auzrik seems to be trying to go for plays that aren't really always there, or going for a play that is there and just gets outplayed by Obey's teamwork, where he looks for a snatch, goes to the grab, and all of a sudden there's 4 Obey jerseys around the corner. So Auzrik has been like half bad decision making and half just wrong place, wrong time.
Dineohsaw went for the blink pluck and ended up missing, and now it's Obey trying to turn it around. Jelly with the transformation. Predator's the focus, but Thorn's gonna buy him a little bit of time. Nice ultimate there from 50-meter fly, forces Zachsy back for the moment. This still is an opportunity for Obey if Enix tries to play too aggressive, though Jelly is really low, and look at where Dwurst is. He's lagging pretty far behind.
Yeah, Enix needed to, the speed that we saw earlier from Enix, that's what we needed to see. We need to see the instant commit. Otherwise, Dwurst is just going to be able to cut them off on the back end, and at the very least, stop the assault. At the most, really start a fight.
Dwurst wasn't able to find that ultimate. The silence really stopping the flow of that Xing Chen kit very well from the Nox in the mid lane. Now the purple buff invade is the focus here for Obey, and they will be able to steal that away. That's been the focus for them a lot. They actually got the red buff as well on the Delta Marine.
And right now, Dineohsaw just
silence.
collapsed on. Myflin gets credit, but the entirety of Obey Alliance touched that guy. Dineohsaw sits out for 30 seconds.
And that's the teamwork that we're talking about. That's Dwurst saying, I've got a knockup right here, and Zachsy, no hesitation. Boom. Instant dark portal, silences out any potential escape.
Myflin zoning out, just beautiful. Myflin zones out the Nox so she can't complete the combination on anybody stuck in the trouble puddle. The rest of the team goes up to the left-hand side, and guess what? There's no Gold Fury alive. They got the Gold Fury during that entire exchange, rocketing up to about a 10,000 gold lead. Obey playing, just lights out right now.
We saw a very similar composition with Soul earlier on today. Anytime you get Soul, Fafnir, insert Hunter here, you are burning objectives quickly, and this game has gotten out of hand very quickly. Obey, they have a couple stumbles, they have a couple deaths where they probably shouldn't, but they end up now up 10,000 gold at 19 minutes, and it's objectives. That's 2 Gold Furies, a Portal Demon that ended up actually getting stolen by Enix, but that's Obey's pull to try and go for it. They're objective oriented. They've gotten both towers in mid, both solo tier 1s on each side of the map. So now there's only 2 towers left standing that Enix has to defend their base, and they've got nowhere to run whenever Obey tries to pull the next Portal Demon or the next Fire Giant.
Right now, pbnjellly going to be the one pulled. He's a support, but still, this is what we saw before out of Obey, where they just all collapse on one. There's the ultimate. Auzrik gets last hit. Snatched away from Predators. Nice play. Enix with the 4-on-5 power play.
Did cost them 3 ultimates, but getting Jelly off the map, very, very important. He is critical to what Obey is doing right now, not only with the kit, but with the Shogun's Kasari there for him as well.
Oh, another one. Myflin gonna get tossed into the silence field, surrounded and pounded and grounded. 50-meter fly makes it a 3-on-5. What do they do from here?
Delta Marine dropped the ult, and Dineohsaw didn't fall. Portal Demon's up, and all of Enix is really low. Honestly, Zachsy might be able to just pull this all by himself. That's exactly what he's going to go for.
Ooh.
Enix not going to be able to get here in time unless it's 50-meter fly, but he doesn't have the ultimate, and Delta Marine zoning him out. And that's the power of keeping your backline alive. Even if your front line falls, your backline's the one who's doing the objectives for you. Zachsy going to be able to confirm Obey's first Portal Demon.
That one's got to hurt. That one's really got to hurt, because that was fantastic play from Auzrik to find that kill, and then fantastic play from Predators to find the secondary kill. Just really good Smite in that sequence from Enix. Perhaps the best Smite we've seen all game long, and they just don't get anything for it. In fact, they lose something for it.
Well, that's what happens when the best Smite you play comes after you're 10K down already. It's usually a little bit too late. You need to make multiple great plays in order to get back once you hit that stage.
Well, there. Ooh, nice play from Myflin. Going to dash into Predators,
Auzrik.
so we can't land the flip. Predator's going to avoid the nonsense out of Dwurst as well. And Zachsy just going to shove Auzrik down into the ground. No avoiding that one. Thorn's going to be popped. Sun's going to fall. That should be a temporary stay for Obey Alliance as Enix tries to get ready to play defense.
Dwurst has just been a beast so far this game. He's level 18. He's 2-0-6. Look at the player damage. He's 14K right now. He is unkillable until Enix kills basically everybody else around him. Only then can he really be focused.
And one more time, Dineohsaw getting focused. Zachsy finds his 4th kill of the game. And this is vintage Dwurst. This is, Season 1, Season 2 Dwurst that we saw playing, with this squad so long ago. He would come out on these Guardians and he would just be better than you. I don't think we've seen that style Dwurst in a while.
Yeah.
And this game, he's just being better than you.
He really is. He's had a phenomenal game, and that's no surprise. I mean, he has always performed very well at land, though now might have cursed him a little bit. 50-meter fly, gonna get that kill, but it is until after Obey gets the Phoenix. That's a worthwhile trade.
And exactly, a solo laner takes that's his job. My job is to zone, so y'all get the objective, and if I die, I'll see you later.
Okay, also, if Dwurst actually complains to his team, they should all just point out the fact that my man's just bought Gem of Isolation on Xing and that he could have bought, any defense at all.
Hey, it's got health.
And been fine. Yeah, 250, sick. You also spent 2350 on it or whatever it is. So
it's got health. He works well with HP 5, right? Yeah?
Yeah, you could also buy a health item that gives, some physical defense in there. I think that could end up being pretty valuable.
Like what, a Mark of the Vanguard?
No, like a Midgardian Mail, maybe. What? A Midgardian Mail.
What?
It's a physical protection item that gives
Gem
you
of
HP.
Isolation? A Void Stone, maybe? Soul Reaver? That's the items I want to see. I want to see Dwurst just go in.
You don't want to see Obey win this game, do you?
I am a neutral observer. I like to zoom out and watch from a distance.
You like to watch a solo laner build inefficiently from a distance, huh?
Yeah, not my games. I'm too far away.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, see how it works out. Right now, Obey Alliance, Dwurst could probably build a Soul Reaver and not get in too much trouble.
Yeah, you're probably right, in all honesty. I mean, he is that far ahead at this stage of the game. Surprised that we don't see a Titan's Bane yet from Zachsy. Going for the Aussie after the Executioner is in response to the Thorns coming out of Predators, but...
The double lifesteal?
Yeah, getting double lifesteal is kind of mitigating that damage that you're putting onto yourself, but I still think Titan's Bane ends up being far, far more valuable for Zachsy here. It gives him far more penetration. He doesn't need the extra attack speed from the Aussie anyways because of his steroid on the one. He's got the Fafnir Coerce. He's got the Shogun's Kasari from Fafnir as well.
There's only 2 towers up, though.
But it's still more DPS onto the characters as well as the objectives. It's more damage onto the Fire Giant, onto the towers, onto the gods, everyone.
Myflin going to be surrounded. Doesn't look like he cares much. Dwurst also going to be pushing up as well. Sobek by himself. Dineohsaw could be in trouble here one more time. He's just fallen without doing much in this late game. The charge prey is stopped by Myflin. Beautiful positioning. And he's going to go down, but the trade out for Dwurst. So it's a 1-for-1.
Here comes the rest of the squad, though. Zachsy opens up the dark portal in a wrong spot, but Vaporish still has to use the Aegis. There's the push-pull. Good decision for Predators to push them away, but Zach's still going to find it with the auto.
How? All the way from that far. Wonderful play by Zach. Delta Marine going to pile up as well. 3 down, 2 still alive. Delta Marine coming from the around this nice play. Very important play.
Needed it for sure, but this is going to be a free tier 2 for Obey Alliance. They don't need to have Myflin tank this up for long, even without a Titan's Bane for Zachsy, and even without him there, basically. Delta Marine does all the tower shredding he needs to by himself. Let Zach go over and have some fun with some PvE content on the Fire Giant.
Zach is actually the one that said he didn't excel at PvE, which is kind of funny. Caliber came out here and was like, well, I'm really good at killing computers. And Zachsy was like, I'm notoriously bad at PvE.
Well, he's doing okay so far. He hasn't gotten knocked up by the Fire Giant quite yet, so, you know, it could have been worse.
As long as he's got his Aussie prop there, able to do it no problem. So, hard mode Fire Giant done by Zachsy.
When you're level 20 at 25, that's easy mode Fire Giant.
He's doing it by himself. It's hard mode.
Yeah, no, it's like hard mode is like at 10 minutes as soon as it spawns by yourself.
That's like nightmare mode. That's like next level.
Yeah. So hard mode's like in between what just happened in the nightmare mode.
While we wait for Obey Alliance to sort of regroup, one of my favorite moments of looking for the Fire Giant early, 10 minutes, I forget what they called themselves. It was a Shadow Q team at the time on PC. And Fire Giant spawns, and they all launch their ultimates while he's in the spawning animation. So nothing happens. And the team just sort of like F6 then. It was
right
great.
away. Yeah, classic.
Immediately. Just like, well, we tried to do the thing, we didn't do the thing, so we failed. Dineohsaw charge praise award. Wonderful placement by Obey. He hit the ward.
No, he hit the minion. You can't hit the ward with the charge play.
I didn't think so, but it looked like it hit the
ward. That would be
ward.
crazy. What if it actually threw the ward so you could use it to like actually get deep vision?
Next level. Right now, this level. Predators tossed back to their level. 50-meter fly answers back. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Mid lane, Phoenix does fall down. Vapor going to go ahead and look for the heal. Myflin on the back end. Flip, push, pull. Zachsy aegising out. But still, there's the damage coming out from the Nox. But again, Myflin answers back. It's a 2-for-2.
Delta Marine still healthy enough to push his Phoenix. Look at the damage he's doing to Predators. Over almost nearly 200 in auto attack out of Delta Marine, but needs to avoid that combo. Gets hit by the root. So the beads, so he's going to be able to stay safe until Predators finds him underneath the tower.
And again, it's the Executioner. It's 50-meter fly, deathless in this game. A part of 100% of what Enix has been able to put on the scoreboard. He is #1 on his team as far as player damage is concerned. Ryan, this guy's out of control. 50-meter fly is the key to Enix being in this game.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. He's been doing so much for them, whether it's damage, whether it's control, the long-range ultimates to try and force players off. I mean, the defensive-style ultimates have been on point as well. This guy's been playing great, and there's been a lot of talk about how good he is in the EU SCL team. I talked to Predators on Wednesday. He told me that or Thursday, he told me that he thought 50-meter fly is the best player on console, and he looks like he can hold up against the North American competition. He's had a great game thus far.
Yeah, that's a really big statement to say. And you know what? Right now, I don't have the ammunition to disprove it. He's just looking that good. Even the build is fantastic. I mean,
well, I don't like Obsidian Shard on Nox. Everything you do is dot damage. You do more damage with Spear of the Magus, but you do less tower damage, you do less objective damage. Maybe that's what he wanted to go for.
I don't think that's what he wanted to go for.
I don't think so either, but I'm trying to give him an out.
No, I think he was looking for, so Silence Puddle is not dot damage.
Right, but you almost, in 97, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, 97 times out of 100, you're setting up for your own Silence Puddle with your one. So by the time the puddle explodes, you've already stripped away, you're getting at least 4 stacks on your Spear of the Magus, and then you're doing more damage at the end of that.
Listen, I just wanted to talk about Doom Orb again.
I know you did, but I was gonna let it go because he's been playing really well, but you had to bring it up, and now I can't just sit around and let it happen.
I mean, you could have just talked about Doom Orb.
I could have, but that wouldn't have been the most relevant thing to talk about.
Right there, Jelly would have taken a little bit more damage had there been a Spear of the Magus, but nonetheless, still a nice play coming out from 50-meter fly. Less about the damage there and more about the control. Can't allow that player to get up too close.
Especially with how tanky Jelly is at this point. He's got that Mantle of Discord, and look at the build that he's gone for now. It's mostly magical defense oriented. You're looking at Shogun's Kasaria, look at Oni Hunter Garb. That's a lot of magical defense,
yeah.
And he's still getting chunked down by 50-meter fly. That Jade Emperor's crown should probably be sold at this point whenever Jelly gets the chance to try and get a more heavy physical defense item. Something like a Midgardian Mail would do nicely.
Like Gem of Iso?
No, they've already got one of those. Actually, I think Gem of Isolation is better on Fafnir than it is on Xing.
Really?
Yeah, because whenever you coerce someone, they get the Gem of Isolation. That's the way coerce works. It procs on hit effects. So you give Gem of Isolation to your entire team with coerce. It's actually like, it looks troll, but it's actually good if you get it in the last item slot. Kalas is a big proponent of that. And while the rival guys sometimes on PC will troll around with their builds a little bit, I actually think that one's very good.
Yeah, it's not a bad look. Not a bad look at all. All of the hilarious hybrid offensive items actually do very well on Fafnir. He's high damaging himself, and like you mentioned, he's going to be coercing his teammates. So things like Voidstone, absolutely an option. Maybe not right now, but absolutely an option on Fafnir, because he's able to absolutely, really bring the damage. And one of the older tricks in the book, just last item Soul Reaver on a Guardian, and nobody's saying no.
That is one of the older tricks in the book, and I like this build that Zachsy has finished off the Titan's Bane now. I like where Myflin has gone with his build, going for the Masamune at the end, trying to get some extra movement speed, big power spike as well,
he did
and that extra bit of protections.
He did trade out that crown.
For an Emperor's armor, like that choice exactly, trying to debuff these towers, plus it gives him what he wants, some more physical defense.
Myflin avoids the pull coming out from Pedro. Dineohsaw has to dash defensively, mid lane Phoenix down. Myflin trying to zone, will come around the back end, keeping Vapor out of the team fight. More looking at that fly, but instead he's going to be rooted, he's going to be ulted, he's going to be controlled on the back end. One more time, Myflin goes too deep, and 50-meter fly takes care of him. 5 on 4, but the damage already done. Mid lane Phoenix again dead. Right side Phoenix again dead.
Honestly, Myflin almost found the 1v3 kill onto Vaporish with that Thorns, actually forced out the Aegis onto the Hui, and he commanded so much attention that, I mean, dying there, not exactly ideal, but they get the right side Phoenix.
Push, Jelly just barely out of the trouble puddle, but it does force the ultimate. Predators gets tossed.
Goodbye.
Delta Marine with the last hit gets the kill. Auzrik trying to help from the back end, but everybody on Enix just running for their lives. Auzrik low beats. What did he beats? He's just trying to get out of here. And meanwhile, he's going to, wrong turn! Zachsy with the kill, number 19 for Obey Alliance. The door's open.
I'm surprised they're not going for the end. I really feel like they could go for it, depending on the cooldown of Jelly's Coerce. I mean, you put the Coerce onto Zachsy and on a Delta Marine. That's a pretty big damage boost.
Yeah, this is it. The players on Enix are speed bumps at this point. Obey Alliance can absolutely look at the objective, and right now that's 50-meter fly for them. Gonna escape to the fountain. Delta Marine actually kills him in the fountain, and the pit gives credit where credit's due. Large yell from the crowd.
And look, that you just can't let a guy go 8-0 on you, even when you win. You got to put him in his place in a situation like that.
Absolutely. Myflin's feeling fine. Dwurst just another day at the gym. And there's everybody on Obey. Just looking cute, feeling cute.
Yeah, Fear Decide, their sixth man, their coach. He's a guy who gets into it, and he fits in really well with those Obey guys because as we talked about a lot during that cast, there's a LAN veteran team that gets loud at LAN, that plays better at LAN, and you hear the guys talking to the other players. I mean, everyone says, yeah, you know, Obey didn't have the best of online splits, but I don't think anyone is overlooking them at a LAN environment because they all turn up for it.
I mean, every single one of them, Dwurst, you know, like we said, this was one of his better games in recent memory. Probably has something to do with the fact that he's here at LAN.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of these guys are, you know, veterans. Myflin is one of the longer playing Smite players in general, not just on the console. He switched over to console very early, but, you know, even back in the Smite beta, we're talking 2012, Myflin was out there playing, so.
He's got a lot of experience and likes to let everybody know about it whenever he gets the chance.
Fantastic game so far. It's been Obey and Enix. Obey are up 1. Finch, break it down.
I'd be happy to, Tom. Thanks for passing it off. We got Enix, we got Obey Alliance, and we got Finn's Tolly and Matt Coy's here on the desk. Tolly, what happened in that game to have it go so in favor of Obey?
I think it was just the amount of control that they had. It was actually a better composition from Eanix all across the board between the Hercules, the Nox, and the Sobek, but I think the teamfight positioning favored Obey Alliance here.
Yeah, I didn't really like the Susano pick, honestly, from Enix. I think the Soul had too much self-peel, and the Fafnir can just all the damage that Susano does. And I don't know, I just don't think you really pick Susano in that scenario. I think you need to pick something with more pressure, or even a warrior maybe to get more beefier so you can survive all the damage that they had.
Not only was it difficult to lock down Delta Marine, but Zachsy was left almost untouched, playing the Izanami. And I think they actually went into that expecting that Izanami pick, considering they banned away a Moose and Cobb, and the Enix answered back with the Hoi.
Yeah, the Izanami, we haven't seen it at all this land, but Zachsy really played well on it. He was really safe, and Eanix just never even looked at him in any of the fights, really.
And that's because to start the game off, I mean, yeah, Zachsy, I mean, he looked really good. But, I mean, early on, Myflin was the one really creating all that space, really was the one initiating those fights and setting him up to look this good. I mean, those kind of plays, though, that's Zachsy making it happen on his own. Just talent on the god.
I mean, Myflin setting up the plays is not something new to the Obey Alliance squad, especially considering they first picked this Chulainn. And that was kind of a question mark in the air of, is it going to go to Dwurst? Is it going to go to Myflin? Playing lights out, initiating for his team, gave Zachsy and also gave Delta Marine the plays that they needed to make.
Yeah, Zachsy just had free roam to just auto-attack everybody, and he was doing a really good job of it, just killing everyone off cooldown, and no one even touched him, I think, that game. He just really fragged out.
And speaking of not being touched, on the flip side, though, Enix in the mid lane, 50-meter fly, playing the Nox, was left untouched there, too. I don't think he had a single death unless he died at the last
Right
exchange.
until they took the Titan, yeah. He basically went unkilled basically the whole game. I mean, the game was over at that point. I mean, Obey tried to mess it up, but, I mean, 50-meter fly played absurdly well considering what was happening in the game. I mean, talk to me a little bit about that performance he just had, because he looked really good on that.
It was outstanding, honestly. I've never seen a mid do that other than Baronic, honestly. Or he was just nuts. He would play perfectly, and you know, the Nox, it was a sleeper pick, but it really worked well. It stopped the Chulainn from doing any abilities, and he just fragged on it, really.
And the amount of control that he just helped complement the rest of his teammates. And not only that, mitigating a lot of damage with the ultimate there. He was just getting off the long-range artillery shots. And he is the reason why it was very difficult for Obey Alliance to close out the game, even though they got multiple Phoenixes.
Yeah, he was the only reason why they didn't lose that game like 20 minutes in. He was just fragging, and the CC was just too much, I think. And then Nox ult, that damage is so insane. You can just kill anybody really with it.
And we were talking a little bit because he was for a while there the second highest player damage in the game, it's the highest on his own team. I mean, even that splash damage on that ultimate, man, it can just really cause a lot of problems in a team fight. So he had a good impact for him. But on the other side, his opposing mid laner, Delta Marine on the Soul, also looked really good. I mean, again, he had a lot of help from his team, but I mean, he was coming out big for him. If something happened to Zachsy, then he was still there for him to help out.
You were talking about the self-peels, and Soul is the best mid-mage, I think, that has this self-peel with the Separate, being able to basically take you out of the game for 4 seconds, a free relic every now and then. And I think this is the pick potentially for the second game that both teams are going to look for.
Yeah, Delta Marine, he just looks super comfortable on the Soul. This is his god, and he just looks so... Like, you can just see he's not missing autos. He's hitting every ability, and he's using that 3 perfectly to just cancel out the Susano ult and any abilities that go on him.
He was on fire that game. Playing the Soul totally on fire.
No response.
No response from Anatoly,
no.
though Delta Marine did look good in that game. In fact, it's really hard to go down this Obey Alliance list and find someone who didn't look good. pbnjellly had almost that perfect, support slash line. If we talk a little bit about the play that he had that game on the Fafnir pick for them as well. I mean, I think until towards the end, he hadn't died at all the game, a part of, so many of the kills and helping setting everything up, and then obviously coercing those 2 carries to help him out.
And honestly, this is a different Obey Alliance than I'm used to seeing, at least in the fall online portion. Every single team that showed up so far for day number 1 have just been playing lights out, and I'm not expecting anything to change here in game number 2.
Yeah, they look like the world champions. Honestly, they're playing flawlessly, and they didn't really slip up at all, unless, Myflin went a little too deep sometimes, but that's what he does. That's his playstyle. So, yeah, they just look really good.
Just going absolute beast mode on that Chulainn.
Well,